Welcome. Thank you so very much. My name is Lady Nakia Wright. I have the honor and privilege of being the chair of the Faith-Based Advisory Board for Prince George's County. It is overseen by our overseer, Reverend Charles McNeil, with our co-chair, Dr. Sharon Anderson. On this evening, and please let me give accolades to the trailblazer who leads our county, our county executive, Angela Alsterbrooks, who is doing a phenomenal job. We thank God for the work that she's doing. She's leading us through times we've never lived in before, and we are grateful for her seeing the significance of the churches being at the table. And we thank her for placing this board here in Prince George's County. Our only goal is to make sure that we are bridging the gap between the government entities and the faith-based communities. On this evening, we are here to discuss the 2020 election and what that means to us. As we've seen in today's society, the millennials have been leading great charges. They have gotten so much attention and legislation passed with their voices, with their consistency, with their courage, with their, let me tell you something, they have been true change agents in this time. And one of the things that I think that we need to hear tonight are their thoughts as it pertains to one of the most important elections of our time. Can you believe that in 2020, we are boarding up stores? We are preparing for civil unrest in 2020? If you do not think that your voice matters, that your voice is necessary, and that we need your vote to invoke change in the earth, we are here today to push you, to motivate you, and to remind you that we need you. And together, we can make a difference. Not one person, not one group can manifest change. It takes every living, breathing soul in solidarity to stand together. That change is here. Change is now, and we are what change looks like. So with that being said, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce two young ladies who I worship with, and I'm so honored that they said yes to this moment. Our hosts tonight is Miss Ashley Stewart and Miss Hadassah DeBush. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to introduce them. I'm going to turn it over to them and allow them to introduce themselves. Ashley?
Hey everyone, I am so excited to be a part of this discussion. We're talking voting, we're talking about being young, and I'm just excited to be a part of this and share this platform with you all. My name is Ashley Kay. I'm excited to be a part with sharing this with Hadassah, and we are a part of the College Life Bridging the Gap, and that is bridging the gap of education, inspiration, and Christ. So I'll hand it over and let Hattie introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hadassah DeBush, and this is such an important discussion to have. It's talking about voting and the important need to go out and vote tomorrow. So I know that everybody that's on the platform today will truly be blessed by what we have to share, and we just hope to encourage and inspire those who haven't voted and those who are still considering, still on the fence, that perhaps what we say tonight would really strike a match in you to go tomorrow and to vote.
Absolutely. So,
Yes, yes,
um,
yes, yes.
we're talking about voting. We are young, and where I used to say like young at heart and young in age, right now we're focused on just young. If you are able to vote, we're talking to you. Okay, so mommies, aunties, daughters, cousins, friends, we all do. We love to do stuff together. This is another opportunity to grab those that you love and let's be a part of something major. And we're just going to open it up. And so I know Hattie had this fun question that I think would be a good little icebreaker. And so I'm gonna hand it over to you, lady.
Yes, so I have a question for Lady Nakia Wright. Lady Wright, what was the first president you voted for? Who was the first president you voted for?
Do, 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 do,
And
do.
Melissa and Rex, if you can remember.
Oh, it's coming down your pipeline too, guys.
Recall.
So I want to say the first president I voted for was Bill Clinton. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, you took me way back.
Hey, you're back.
So let me tell you, the first president I remember voting for with excitement when I fell in love
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
voting, when I fell in love with the power behind me casting my ballot, the one I vividly remember is Bill Clinton.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Who was your first president that you voted for, Melissa?
First president was President Barack Obama, and it was during his first election.
Okay. And what about you, Rex?
Same. My first election was the 2008 campaign, and it was for Barack Obama.
Oh,
I think we're
cool.
all going to the same answer. What about you, Ashley?
So it was the Bush Kerry era, and I that was probably like my first adult thing that I could do because I had just turned 18 that summer. So I was like, oh, it's going down. This is something that I'm gonna be a part of. So that was it. But I remember like the Clinton. I don't know why. I think we had to like write letters or something in school. Very interesting. So in my mind, I wanted to say Clinton, but by law, that means I did something illegal. So I know I didn't vote for him during that time. But
The
yeah,
important thing is you voted. There's
yeah,
like
I did my part.
exactly. Your vote was definitely counted, but there's always a sense of accomplishment that you get like the very first time you vote.
Yeah.
I did vote for Obama, but I was too young for the first term, so I voted the second time around. And I just remembered the streets being filled because I was working in a hair salon in Washington, D.C. at the time, and the excitement just all around. Just in Washington, D.C. period was just amazing. And it was definitely a memory, something that I felt proud of. I was like, oh, I took part of that. So it was a definitely a monumental moment, something to remember forever.
Yeah, I totally agree. That era the same. I'm like, oh, it was different. I think each time because the cycles are different, so it just has a different impact and effect on you depending on one where you are economically, you know what I mean, or just maturity wise. Like, is it going to affect me? So the very first time, that was like my adult thing I wanted
Mhm.
to do, and so that was my motivation behind it. On top of kind of like I don't know if it matters, but I'm gonna just do my part. So it's a great segue to like the next item we'll discuss on like what was your first time like. So like I shared with mine, it was just like I'm doing my part, whatever this turns out to be, I can just say I did it. And I didn't really have like my mom and my dad, they're like, no, you gonna vote. Like people work hard, you know what I mean? They didn't just, it's not a light thing to take it. So you want to be grown, when we're young, we want to be grown. They're like, this is your grown thing. This is your adult behavior that you're gonna participate in. And I was informed. It wasn't like a blind decision. It was definitely these are the things you need to know. So like with you guys, what was your first time like and what advice did you have when you voted? So I'll hand it over to Melissa first.
So my first time voting, I was in college at Virginia State University, and I did, excuse me, an absentee ballot. And even during the whole process, I was the one knocking on the doors, telling people you need to register to vote, and
Oh, cool.
really pushing his election. And I'll never forget being on a historically Black college campus and the eruption of just joy that just erupted the whole campus. But I hate to say this part, but what we experienced on that campus is somewhat similar to today. And what I mean by that is that night that President Barack Obama was declared the president, like we had to go on lockdown because Virginia State is in Petersburg, Virginia, and there's still some segregation type, energy that still happens in that area. And we got threats, we got all types of things, and a blackout on campus. So it was just a lot of chaos, but that was kind of in the mix of it. But the joy that we had knowing that we played a part in electing the first Black president of the United States was monumental, and nothing can take that away. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, so Rex, what's yours?
I think my first time is gonna be a little interesting. Melissa was on HBCU's campus, and I was on a PWI's. I went to the Pennsylvania State University for my freshman
Okay.
year, so I was in the middle of what we call Happy Valley, surrounded by I think like 23,000 white people amongst, like, 3,000 black students. And I think my take on voting my very first time is probably something very similar to those who have not voted yet. I know how to read, I knew how to read, I knew how to do research, but rather than do those things, I think at that time of my life at 18, I was kind of going along with there the lesser of two evils. There's no difference between the two. You all are just voting for him because he's black. I knew I was going to lean Democrat because of what mattered to me, but rather than really diving into Barack's policies, I think at that time of my life, I was more concerned about seeming intelligent rather than doing the work to be intelligent and look into what he was running on. So I wasn't doing the work Melissa was doing, going around campus knocking on doors. I was like being that dissenting voice, like, I think I was just voting for him because he's black. But when it came time to vote and it came time for me to do my research and really like see while I'm regurgitating these talking points of they're all the same, there's no difference, it's a black head to the same beast. And I looked at what he was campaigning on, I knew that I could vote for him in confidence. You're not voting for someone to run your utopian country. You're voting for someone to run in this country, and this country is not perfect. And though he didn't have a perfect platform, he had things that would help not only people who look like me, but people who needed help. So universal health care, the Obama era Pell Grants that would actually help me to stay in school later on in my academic journey. So my first time voting, I reflect on that a lot. Just like sitting in the corner, everybody's watching, like trying to be cool, intellectual, and negative, but like really, did I do the work? And I think I see that in a lot of my friends now. It's just like, I'm going to hold on to this. This is part of my identity by being anti. I'm showing you how smart I am. But did I really use my intelligence to get to an answer to have the argument I'm having? And that was more so my first experience.
Oh man, that I mean, come on, Rex. That was real deep and impactful. I'm here for all of it, and I
Definitely made
we're
you think.
so here for all of it. We didn't even get to say who you guys are, so we're just gonna run it back really quickly because that's very important. People are just handling this intellectual, comments and things being shared. So, you just spoke, Rex. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I've called you Rex, but the world doesn't know, who you are and what you have going on. So just share that with us real quick.
Yeah, my name is Rex Jarrett. I went to Penn State my freshman year, but I'm actually a graduate for the University of Maryland, where I did my bachelor's in biochemistry, my master's in biotechnology, and my MBA. Currently, I am an academic advisor at the Harvard Business School.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. I know.
That's awesome.
Go ahead. We celebrate you.
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, Melissa, how about you, lady?
Hello, I am Melissa Jackson. I am originally from Fairfax, Virginia, so Northern Virginia, but I reside in Maryland. I am a graduate of Virginia State University with a business management degree, and I work professionally as a human resource specialist for a traffic engineering firm in Tysons, Virginia.
Oh,
Yep.
so as you can see,
Yeah.
Oh, we got
not
the right.
only are they both old enough to vote, they have things going on in the real world. So their vote really does make a difference. They have stake in the skin in the game. They're like, we're looking out for these next 20, 30 years and our children's children, right?
Yeah.
I like so we hope that it's inspiring you guys to say you can go to school, you can work, and guess what? You can vote.
Exactly.
Three. So you shared your experiences and whatnot. What do you wish? Not let me take that back. What advice would you give like to these first time voters? Or people that may have voted before and kind of like took a hiatus because they didn't like how the last election went. So what advice would you, give to them to kind of like nudge them over?
Okay, I'll go.
Melissa, sorry, go first.
Definitely do your thorough research. We see a lot of surface things on the news, and this isn't like a dig to the news, but definitely look at the candidates, no matter whether it's a presidential election, a Senate election, all of those different things. Do your research on the actual people who are running, and then find out who are they connected with, who are they in association with, and find out, are you in agreement with what they stand for? And know what your non-negotiables are as a voter when you make your decision. And of course, pray, but definitely do your research.
I agree. I agree. Research is key. You got to know what you're saying yes to, what you really are supporting, because you get in the long run, you're like, oh, wait, I need education, but in order to get it, what does that really look like? What am I giving up? What is it going to cost my community to invest in my community? Like, it really does make a difference. They're building up, casinos and things like that. It's bringing money, but where is it going? Who
Yeah.
benefits from that? Yes. And so those details definitely make the difference in signing that bubble, vote for or against, and it starts stating and it works its way up. Rex, what do
How's
you
what are you saying benefiting my future?
Yeah, no, it's so true. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. And even if they personally don't stand with something, like it's not on their list of things, but they're in connection with, and you see pictures of them hanging out with someone that don't quite fit the docket, it's like, because you're associate now, I don't trust you personally.
Yeah.
I can't go for that. But that's just me. That's just me.
Thoughts, Rex? Hattie?
Go ahead. Correct.
Um, Advice for first time voters. 100%, Melissa's right. You got to do your research. It's very easy to say, you know, blue wave, vote blue, or maybe vote red, red wave, depending on what's important to you. But I think, especially if we're talking about individuals who, our demographics match up with not just our race, but like our faith. A lot of folks will go, okay, these certain topics are very important to me. Like I'm liberal, but I really, really care about being pro-life. So, things like that. I think if you find yourself being that kind of like dichotomy of ideals, research is important because you can vote one way for the president, and
Yeah.
then for the person actually making your state and your county laws, vote
Exactly.
another way.
Yeah.
So I think that research is very important. And we're all 18, but or we all are 18 or were 18 at one point, and hopefully we'll all be 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 at some point. So you need to also consider I'm not only voting for myself, I'm voting for the other people in my life or who will eventually be in my life, whether that
Right.
be children, loved ones, parents who will be impacted. So looking at the policies as they circulate around those kinds of concepts is very important.
Yeah. I think there comes a time where you have to identify what's important to you. So there's a lot of times, like especially in certain family or households, they have these certain set of guidelines, and if this candidate is just for what I believe in, and that's what I'm going with, but sometimes it's not always the right choice for you in a
Right.
sense. So it's just really understanding what's important to you, doing that research, and going with that best candidate because that's what's important to you in that very moment. And again, just doing the research too. I mean, both of you guys said it very well. And I'll just, reiterate it, just doing your own research so you'll know who the best candidate is for yourself.
And then also, I'll just piggyback really quickly because then now you've done a research, you can now be a source. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For somebody that's not well versed in certain areas, like you can now educate. And the thing when you educate other people, you retain that information and you like, I want to build upon this. So you never know what that little bit of, I'm gonna read more into this. You can answer the next question and get somebody in a good place for them. They don't have to vote the same way, but they're now well informed on the decision that they make, opposed to just regurgitating ideas because we often do that. My mama was this, my daddy was this, I'm gonna be that too. And you have no reason
Mhm.
why. You have no basis on why you're making that decision other than
Yeah,
because the people I love did it, and it's okay, but that doesn't always mean that's like the right thing. You know what I mean? At least you
right.
can say I love them and I know why I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And I feel like a lot of us fall into that in different areas, especially when it comes to politics, because it's just easier to follow the trend.
Right.
And can I just add to that bringing it specifically to this election, there is not no such thing as a perfect candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Perfection does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you all to know that there are only two candidates running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see the state of the land today. Choose the one that you believe that can make us who we are. Remember, we are the United States of America, and we need a leader who can unite and can lead and we can trust to a certain point. I mean, so choose the candidate who has the qualifications of the highest office of the land. And why we try to find perfection, if you yourself cannot present perfection every single day, do not put that type of mandate on people running for office. What I will say is, once the election happens, now let's hold people to the fire so that they can do what it is that they said they would do while they were running. While presidential elections are necessary, state elections are even more important, because when you look at where we are today, you look at the police brutality, you have to figure out who is the state's attorney that's going to pass the laws and prosecute these people. That's done on a local level. When you think about the sheriffs who are overseeing the counties in which we live in, we vote them in. So if you want to see change, everyone go out for the presidential election is necessary, but you have to show up for the local elections as well, because the local elections, as Rex said, affect us more directly. And we want to make sure that many of us started from zero. We want to make sure that those coming behind us will not have to start from zero.
Right. No, that is
very well.
Say one
we're
more
all
thing.
snapping, so we're not.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, I need to offering it. That's the word.
It's a collection play.
Bring it on in, bring it back to the focal point. It's very much relevant. And thank you. Thank you. It is this election that matters, and then we make it to the next and then the next. So yeah. Oh, okay.
And don't let fear paralyze you.
That's true.
Come on, Melissa.
Don't let fear paralyze you.
No,
Amen.
that's very true. Information. No
My favorite
fear.
takeaway from that is perfection is the enemy of progress.
Okay, Rex.
And I grabbed
Civil rights bill was not perfect.
Yes,
but
very true.
it was progress.
It's progress. And one of the things that, and let's address this, I'm probably going offline, off key with this, but let me just tell you this. Oftentimes you do the best you can with what you have. Now let's just take a certain candidate, and I'm just hypothetically saying his name because he's running. Many people are hard on Biden because of the crime bill that he passed. Remember, the crime bill took place in a time with crack cocaine. There was an epidemic of crack cocaine in the land, and no one knew what to do. So they thought that they were solving a problem for something that was taking our lives rapidly. And they thought that they were providing a solution when you don't have any help. Ignorance guides you into a way where you just try to make quick fix. That's why I'm not for defund the police, because you're looking for a quick fix. We don't need a quick fix. We need we need reallocation of funds. We need a lasting solution. So you have to think about the time we were in where certain bills were passed and look at the progression of how they have voted and how they've passed bills since then. Once you learn, you do better when you know better. I'm sorry. I digress.
Good.
No, that's not that's key though. Like it's you know better, you do better. When you are informed, you can make better decisions. And it's where we are now. We have a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? And in that, it's like, okay, I need a vote because of where we are now, going to the justices that we are experiencing. It's a chain of command, and we have to do our part to change that chain of command. We are part of the change. So
It's part of the change.
One bit of information and then run with it.
Yeah.
And just make it like this whole thing. Like, have you not done the research to know the reason behind, this bill being passed in the first place? You would have never known that this was the pandemic at the time. That was that they were facing with. And it was real in their moment. So, but you can't just take that one bit and make it his reality and make it, I think, follow him all the days of his life. Like, it was in that particular moment.
And then you have to realize that elections win by ignorance, because most people don't do their homework. Exactly. How many people that you have gone all over Maryland and you see vote yes for number 2? It has been so strategic. It's so many signs that when you go to the polls, you will say, I am going to vote yes for question number 2, because I've seen it everywhere. And you don't know that that's passing legalized gaming. No one typically knows Question number two, we have to do our homework so you know when you
Mhm.
get to the polls, you know exactly what it is you're looking for. If you live in Prince George's County, you got what? Show them, Melissa, what you got. You
Come on,
received
Cook.
this. You received this ballot. If you don't know where it is or you want to know where to go, just go to vote411.org. Put in your information and it will tell you everything that's on your ballot. Or you can go to, we are members of the Gathering at Forestville, shameless plug. And we have services on Sundays at 10 o'clock, and we're under the leadership of the greatest leader that ever walked this earth, Bishop Donna Wright. Hey, my boo. Yes, shout out. But you can go to the Gathering at Forestville on social media, and we have what's on the ballot as well. So make sure, again, that is vote411.org if you want to know what it is that you're voting for at the day of the election. Where you live will make a difference of what's on your ballot.
Yeah.
So vote411.org.
That's good. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I voted. I did my mail-in ballot. I went and dropped it off. I wasn't comfortable with dropping it in my mailbox. I went literally to my polling location and dropped it off there, and I was proud to do that. But when I knew who I was going to vote for and things like that. But I'm one of those people. I'll drive past the vote number 2 sign. I'm not paying attention to it. But so when I looked at the ballot and I see this question, and I'm in Prince George's County, so I have specific questions that are specific to Prince George's County. So when I looked at the ballot and there's a question that, and I'm not familiar with it, and I'm not one of those people who's just going to say yes to just because it sounds like it was right, just because you put that it's going to fund the schools or whatever. What exactly does that mean? So a quick Google search was able to help me identify if this is something that I want to vote for, agree with, or disagree with. And I went with a choice that I felt made more sense. And that's just really just to encourage somebody out there
Yeah.
when you're looking at your ballots and there's something that might be confusing to you, or if you want to go or Google things before time. I think Rex was giving the information on that as well, and Lady Wright did. That is also on the Gathering page. It's just looking at those questions and the questions that are on your ballot, so you know how to make an informed decision, not just going off of, oh, this sounds like this might be right. Do the research. It sounds good, but do the research first. Yeah, so the next question is common misconceptions about voting. And the reason why this question is so important is there is this one particular, like a trend, I guess, of that my vote doesn't necessarily count. My one vote doesn't count. It doesn't necessarily make a difference. That's one misconception, but I know there are so many of them. But why do you feel that people feel that particular way, that their vote does not count? And then any other common misconceptions that you can think of when it comes to voting that you would like to share, Melissa or Rex, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah.
Go Rex.
Stop me if I talk too long. I'll try and make it concise. That is a very common talking point that I hear. And I will not say that I do not understand, do not empathize with why someone would feel that way. But logically, I cannot agree with that assessment. And this is why I think it stems from a place of just a general misunderstanding of what voting is. People talk about voting or think about voting as if it's some type of genie. You go into your high school down the street, you cast your ballot, you wake up tomorrow, and your life is fixed. Voting is not a genie. It is the first step of the work that you need to do in the general direction that you're going. Said before, perfection is the enemy of progress. Voting is not about perfection. It is about progression. It's about moving in the general direction you'd like to see your community and your country move in. So you got to think of it as I'm not voting to buy a car. Voting is more so like a bus ride. It's which bus is going to get me to the general area that I'm going, which train is going to take me to where I'm going. The train's going to stop at PG Plaza, but because I got to go to University of Maryland, I'm not going to get on a green line. No, I'm now exponentially closer than I was when I started at Fort Totten 20 minutes ago, or when I started in Tyson's Corner an hour ago. And that's what people really need to focus on. It's not a cure all. It is the first step in a series of events and actions that you need to take as part of your civil duty, as part of your responsibility as an adult to mold the world to look more so how you like it for your friends, your family, your loved ones, and your community.
Very
I can't even add to that. That's it. That
That
is
was
it.
excellent, Rex.
That
Excellent,
was.
excellent, excellent. What I will say, one of the things that we're lacking in the African American community is voter education.
Mm-hmm.
I'll reiterate this: when you know better, you do better. And one of the things that we have to do is make sure that our people, our legacy, our generation is well informed about the importance of elections. Do you know how many elections are won by just one vote? Every vote counts. Again, most people will tend not to go to polls if the candidate of their choice does not win, even though you did vote and the candidate of your choice may not have been the top two candidates that's running currently. Know that your vote matters and your vote is necessary. And again, choose someone who's going to push the agendas that will take our generation to places that it's never been before, because business as usual is over. And if you go back to when Hillary Clinton lost the election, in some states she lost by a couple of hundred votes. Every vote matters. Every vote is counted. Even though we've seen in the United States of America, we've seen record numbers in early voting. We have surpassed voting everywhere. In South Carolina alone, the people that have come out to vote for Jamie, who's running against McConnell, his votes, the voting places alone, they are more than the votes that Barack Obama got when he ran. This is how vital, and yes, this is so serious. This is how vital the elections are. In Ohio, in the 10th district, there is the first African American woman is running in Ohio for office. Right now, she's winning against her opponent. If she wins her election, Ohio is Biden's. It's so important. We need this. If when November the 3rd, when those votes are counted, if there is such a huge number of people that have voted, listen, it's over. We can declare a winner. We need everyone to come out. We personally, our church and many churches in Prince George's County, we're adopting polls so we can make sure that you do not leave. We're there with snacks. We're there with water. We're bringing a DJ. We're bringing chairs. We're going to have people there. If the older people want to sit in their car, we'll stand in the line for you. We want to make sure nothing discourages you from voting. Every vote counts. If you are an American in the United States of America, there were people who shed blood for us to have the right to go to the polls. People gave their lives to vote. This is how intense it is. Do not take the death of somebody's legacy lightly. Stand up. This is our chance for our voices to be heard. Stand up and answer the call. Go vote.
Good.
That is beautiful work that you all are doing. I'm really happy to hear that.
Thank you, Rex. You want the cash app because we bought all that stuff.
I will donate to the church.
I'm kidding.
And I think about this election, it's like every election feels different, but this one feels like extra different. So it's like this feels extra important that everyone goes out there and really vote, because your future truly does depend on this. Like there's one that thinks this is right, and there's one that thinks this is right. And it's been shared on this platform a couple of times. No one is perfect. Nobody is perfect. But you do have to make a choice. And there are only two, like Lady Nakia Wright said. So yeah, good stuff.
It's literally like life or death. Like that's what it's come to. Life or death. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I will say this, and you guys can go into the next question. When you look at the two candidates running, and if you have a child and your child is in kindergarten, which one of the two would you allow to play with your child? There's one be like, oh, you're not playing with them. They don't got no good home training. Think about that. I mean, literally, this is what I'm feeling. They don't have no good home training. You're not playing with them. Like, think about that when you go to the polls. Is that what that's what he
It simplifies the process when you look at it that way. Like
it really does. You go
Is that how they talk? No, you get over here. You're not going outside with them. Don't even ask.
No,
sorry.
Very true.
Yeah.
That's good. That's funny. I'm just thinking
so
I wouldn't. So I don't know, like y'all just saying so many things. I'm like a sponge, just soaking in this moment, because what I hope and what I'm sure is happening in somebody is like, dang, you know what? I'm gonna go vote. At the end of the day, that's how I'm feeling. That's what I'm gonna keep putting out there. Words have power, life and death is the power of the tongue. So I'm gonna speak. You're gonna make a sound decision. And do your research. Like, don't just take our word for it because you are viewing. I encourage you to Google is your friend. We Google everything. We Google the nonsense. So why not take this time to inform yourself and make the best decisions? I'm gonna just plug that again. You can go 411. Was it vote 411? What was
.org.
it again?
Vote411.org.
.org, and then of course, even better, the gathering. Come on over. Everything
Got
is there.
everything over there. We have
Everything
everything.
you need is in one URL. Okay.
And here's the
Yes.
crazier part. You can even go on Facebook and use the search tool on Facebook to find what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
it's
Now,
every
the fact you have to
Never
make sure that
seen.
uh,
Yeah, I've never seen this much information being disseminated on voting. I've never seen the energy this high on voting. We've surpassed what it felt like when the first Black president was running for office. Like, we have surpassed that emotion and we've taken it to another level. And I will say this for the generation that we're talking to, most people counted you out. Most people feel like you don't have a voice. They have taken your power of voice away from you, and you all have led the charge in so many ways. Protesting is not enough. We need policy attached to protest. So for those of you that went out and protest, I charge you to get out and vote. And as a matter of fact, Lord, if you hear the power in my voice, everybody that went to protest that has not planned to vote, don't let them sleep. Let them wake up. Let them feel like I got to go to the polls. Convict them so much so that you snatch their sleep till they get up and they're the first one standing in line. Listen, convict every protester to go vote on Tuesday.
You use the same energy you did the protest to the polls. How about that?
That's it.
But
Lead
no,
the
and
charge.
nobody's against the protest.
I do have a question.
Oh,
For
do
those,
and both.
Yeah.
so for those people who are parents or have a younger sibling, but they are the age to vote, are they able to bring that person with them to see the process while
I'll
they?
be doing that. I'm watching both my godsons tomorrow. They're only 5. They can't vote, but I want them to be there and to experience it, to understand.
They
why.
can. Yes, they can be there.
So even for those of you, like Lady Nakia right said, like, go out there. But if you have people that are underage that want to know what the process is like, bring them along. They see you do everything else. Why not watch you vote?
Yeah.
And kids are sponges. So if you put it in them early, the importance of voting and how important it is, because oftentimes history is not enough to push someone, but you can do it because of your influence over the younger people in your lives. And I'll just say this, do tribe checks. You can't be in my tribe, in my up close and personal space, and you do not feel the same way I feel about voting. I'm too passionate about it for you to be lazy about it. So do tribe checks, make sure. In the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia, you can register to vote on the exact same day. So if you are not registered to vote, if you feel like, oh, I missed the October 13th deadline, I can't vote. If you're in the District of Columbia and the state of Maryland, you can register to vote on Tuesday and vote on the exact same day. You look at the NBA players, the football players who are voting for the very first time. Listen, be the first in your family, be the first in your legacy. We are trailblazers. Lead the way. Show people how to exercise their right to be change agents in the land. Voting makes you a change agent. Be what you want to see.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm sorry. I digress.
Be what you want. I'm just speechless. I'm here for just all of this information, and it's coming from a very real place. You're not just, people aren't just saying this because, oh, it sounds good. We've lived this, we actually are participating and being active. And so that's the difference of somebody saying I'm gonna do and actually being doers of what they say. It's very much a difference. And so just being mindful, like, of the time, I want to just keep it going. And so we kind of touched on this a little bit, but this election, I know Lady Nakia has said it, Rex has said it, I think we all have actually, is so different from past elections. And it's just a very loose question. Like, do you agree? And like, what is it from your POV that you feel that way? Like, I'll answer first. What's happening right now? Let's just start the pandemic alone. Nobody saw these things happening. And so, and then it takes a toll on you, you know, your mental health. Like it's very important. And then you have COVID, and it's like people are literally dying. Like it sounds light, you know, people are dying. No, people are dying by the droves. And if you think that does not have any effect on everything that you do in life, it does. On top of the social injustices. And it's like, it's no better time than this. You need to get right in every element of your life. You know what I mean? So if you don't know the Lord, get to know him. He will lead and guide you to all truth. Okay. So in that political, you know what I mean? The Bible tells you, we are destroyed when we don't know things. And that is in everything that we do. And so for me, like this election is like, you know, I was with Obama. Yes, it was a great moment. But this right here is different for so many reasons. And so whether I go on a tangent, I won't. What reasons is it different for you, Melissa? And then you can jump on in there, Rex. And Hattie too.
Definitely from like the spiritual aspect, the spiritual responsibility that we have as believers. And like I am an intercessor, and so I know when I've gotten off my post and stopped praying for our leaders, like I've seen the results of me being absent. And like that's, I feel like it's blood on my hands, and I've repented and I've prayed. And even for our current president, like I pray for him, like instead of bashing him, which is so easy to do,
Right.
but I'm like, Lord, you know all things, and we need you, he needs you, you know, and even whoever is next, I don't, however you want it, God, but we just, I pray that you raise up a righteous person in this office, because something needs to change. So the weight of responsibility in voting has definitely been tremendous and heavy for me. And even with like praying, like being very strategic, this year has been the snowball effect. We all thought, you know, 2020 vision. Oh, we got clear vision now. It's like the veil has been torn. You know, the bones, we see the bones, like we see it. We see it. And so just like the weight of the responsibility as a believer, as a Christian, as a citizen, as an American, as a Black woman, of the importance of me going out there, no matter how long I have to stand out there or how short, but to know that I am making a difference. And I'm making a difference. And it's not just for me, but it's for the legacy that is to come after me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Co-sign of that. I would just say one can make the argument that they always hear that this election is nothing like the election before. And again, I empathize with it and I understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anyone to feel like I'm trying to incite anxiousness or fear in you, but I do want people to remember there was a time when the most dramatic thing going on with the president was that he wore a beige suit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Mm-hmm.
take that for granted. There was a time when the most dramatic thing that the president could do was invite a rapper to the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a president who tells people, I don't believe science, who makes wearing a mask a political statement,
Mm-hmm.
who normalizes sexual assault. You know, I don't know Biden or Trump personally, but if you as an individual are hanging out with a group of folks and everyone told you that this one guy is really aggressive with women, I wasn't there, but 5 women told me he's pushing them in the corners, you'd be like, all right, I don't really need to verify with him or not, but I'm not going to associate with that guy. It doesn't make sense for you to then think someone you wouldn't even put in your social circles is then fit to run your country.
That's well said.
So just think about those things. Don't, I understand you hear the same talking points over and over. You feel like people are trying to force you to vote red or blue. I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. I'm making the assumption that you, like I, were raised to be a decent person. And especially if you were raised to love Christ, you were raised to love your fellow man. Based on that, I feel as if you take the time to do the research and really compare what life was like 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, and now you will see a difference. There's no
Mm-hmm.
difference in 2008. Your family was probably trying to have to redo the mortgage on their home so they wouldn't be foreclosed upon.
Yeah.
4 years later, those property values came back. 8 years later, the economy came back.
Mm-hmm.
Police shootings, again, don't take these things for granted. Police shootings have gone up. Too many things are going on with the administration that there's no space in the news cycle for it. But as a black man or a black person, police shootings have risen since 2016. So just because it's not being talked about because there's not enough time to talk about it doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's things at risk here. There are things. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Before this presidency, there was a part of the DOG dedicated to investigating police shootings, so police weren't investigating themselves. In 2017, the first year of someone's presidency, it was disbanded. In 2017, the first year of someone's presidency, the pandemic team was disbanded.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference. All those analogies, it's the same two sides of the same coin, wings of the same bird. That sounds nice in your echo chambers. But if you objectively look at the quality of your life and what's going on with these things, it is impossible. It is impossible to look empirically at what's going on now and say that there is no difference.
That's good. And I want to piggyback off of that. When you hire, let's say we're all CEOs, and when you hire your employees, you look for results, right? And the 4 years that you've been in office, you have worked so hard to disband health care from the first president in history that has ever been able to get the bill passed. You spent so much time trying to disband it that you didn't come up with a replacement.
Mhm.
I'm looking for manifestations. I'm looking for results. And you've had 4 years. While you say the economy was great and that's been what you drove it on, as a matter of fact, the economy being great is the manifestation of Obama's work, because you wouldn't see, we were in such a dire state when President Obama got into the office that you didn't see the results of all of the hard work he did until 4 years later. So actually the economy doing good is the result of that black man from Fannie Mae that came in and fixed the United States economy from the previous administration. And what you saw was the manifestations of his work. So can you imagine what Biden is going to have to do? And I'm calling it out, when he's put into office, there's nothing to go back to. We have to live with the new norms of what this administration has put into place. We look for manifestations and we look for results. There hasn't been any results. If you have an employee that always says, I'm about to, and we're getting ready to, and I was about to do that, and I was about to do that, would you keep them on the job? You are not fit to run the office because you can't produce results.
Mhm.
There should be a 90-day evaluation on a presidential candidate.
Listen.
They should get performance reviews, like your performance review every year. And you are the president of the United States. Please tell me who you have doing your taxes. You mean to tell me they have not finished your taxes in 4 years? I'm about to get poo-poo around the corner at H&R Block to come in and do your taxes, because for $199, they will get it done faster than the $4 million that you're paying your attorneys to do it. I bet you.
Seriously.
I'm sorry.
Get a free on TurboTax or something. I mean,
TurboTax.
but
I mean,
no,
man, he prepaid. So I'm just like, okay, I want that option.
I sell Legal Shield. I'll let you have a Legal Shield attorney. I do Legal Shield. I promise you they'll get your taxes done for you. We got you. And Melissa, let me just say something. Melissa, if I can bring peace to your heart in this moment, I will say this: nothing happens unless it crosses the desk of God. And if Trump is president, God saw fit for him to be here.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at while the nation is very divided, I do look at entities that has united as a result of this. I do look at the fact that we've surpassed in Prince George's County alone voting numbers that we've never seen before. And he did wake up something in the earth, whether it was good or bad.
Yep.
But in the midst of chaos, I've seen some beautiful moments that only God could have created, that only someone in office as himself could have done.
Yeah.
While many lives have been lost, while many dreams have died on his watch, I do understand that. But God is a God that makes no mistakes. And at any moment, he could have snapped his fingers and he would have not waken up today. But God saw
Mhm.
fit, and there's reason behind it. So I'll say to you, just stay on watch. Stay on guard, but know God is in control, and you are still called and you're still chosen, and your prayers are going to manifest something great.
Yes.
I
Amen.
received that. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Yeah.
This election feels personal. It feels like you came from my family, so now I'm coming after you too. Not
Come
saying,
on, Hattie.
That
but
part.
it feels personal. As a sister, as a daughter, as an auntie to 5 nephews and 1 niece, and just as a basic human being, I want to be treated like a human being. And it is not to persuade anybody to vote for this person or that person, but just yesterday during the church service, I mean, I was boohoo crying in tears. Like, I mean, I called my sister just in tears, because when you hear simple things like, we're already in this pandemic, in this crazy time, unemployment rate is like through the roof. And I work in human resources as well. So you're getting applicants after applicants after applicants who are applying for positions and things like that, people who are out of jobs. And then simple things like when I heard that when our church was doing like the food bank or whatever, it blessed my life to see that there was something being done to help people who don't have or just need just basic necessity, need some fruits or whatever, just something. Groceries are expensive and they've gotten more expensive during this pandemic. But when you hear that, our local assembly is one of those people who's taking part of that, it made my heart feel so good to hear that. But then when you hear that it got canceled based off of ego and just flat out, just because you're having a moment or a tantrum, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
It really hurt. It cut me to my core as my mother, who works for the school district, for one of the school districts or whatever, she's not working right now. And thanks be to God, she's being taken care of. But I'm sharing this story just to shed light on where we are right now and how important this election is, how it impacts your family as well. They look forward to being able to stop in the line and somebody giving them a box of groceries or something that they can, just cut back. It's one less thing that I have to worry about. And when you hear those little things that just my well-being doesn't really necessarily matter to you, that hurts. It means something. And so I really would like people to not focus on just one particular area of right or wrong, but really assess, what does this presidential candidate, what are they bringing to you and for your entire family? And just for the people you love as an individual, look at where we are and can this person truly be the leader that we need for America? And then we'll wrap up. Well, I guess this is the one question I have left, unless there are other questions from the audience, is if you could share any, or if there's anything that we missed, any questions or any comments that you feel like is necessary to share with the audience right now, something we probably didn't share that you feel is necessary to talk about. If you can share that, and then also share why it's important to vote. Anyone can start. Her go.
I default to Melissa.
Uh,
Oh, you pivoted right to
um,
Melissa.
can you say the question one more time, please?
The question is, why is it important to vote, or is there, or just one final plea to our audience about the importance of voting and their young vote, along with, is there anything that we may have omitted that we didn't talk about on the, that you feel is important to discuss when it comes to this election?
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You have the time. Everyone has the time to go vote. So go vote and just trust God in the process. And you're utilizing your rights. You're utilizing your rights. your rights, use your rights, use your power, use your authority. This is the way that we like Lady Wright said, this is how we create change. Just like you all that went to go protest, how we protested, whether it was on social media, whether it was on Black Lives Matter Plaza, whatever. Use your voice, use your vote, use your resources, and go out and vote. Your life depends on it. And don't allow fear and interrogation to hinder you. Whatever you need to do, bring your snacks, bring your water, bring your chair, and go out there. If you need to get your earbuds, everything, make sure your phone is charged to dance in the line to keep you at peace and calm. Do whatever you need to do and go out and vote. And it's not just about you, but it's about your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your grandkids. It's bigger than us. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Rex, chime in. We got 30 seconds for you.
Yeah, I feel like I did a lot of talking, so I'll just keep it short. If voting didn't matter, they wouldn't try so hard to make sure you couldn't do it. Reiterate, I'm gonna go back to that bus. We're trying to get to a destination. You don't forego the entire metro system because the green line doesn't stop in front of your house. Voting is not a genie. It is not a cure-all. It is one step in a series of actions you have to take to see your world or your community reflect more so the way you would like it to be.
Yeah, and I would just add one small thing is I don't know where voting stands, how much weight it has to you, but if it's means anything, if it's a small thing, take that big step and vote. It will make a world of difference. You know, we've said a lot of different things. You have the time, as Melissa, as Rex and Lady Nakia said, you have the resources. So what you don't have is an excuse. So go out and vote. Lady Nakia, anything?
Thank you all for joining us on this evening. If you're viewing through the Faith-Based Advisory Board page, please like our page. This is where we share the relevant information as we get it from the our county executive as it pertains to Prince George's County. And I'll just reiterate what I've heard. There's no perfect candidate, but we only have two running. And you have to look at the one who values the things that can take us to places we've never been before. And you have to remember that we are the United States of America. And when you look at the land today, do we look united? The middle class is sustaining the economy. Our healthcare is on life support. The pandemic, there are lives attached to the number of people that you've heard that have died. There's lives and families attached to that. How do we recover? What does after this look like? When you think about all of those topics, make your decision on who you vote for. But I don't care who you vote for. Just go out and vote. Exercise your right to do that. Voting is so powerful and we need you. If you want to know what's on the ballot, please go to vote411.org. You can put in your city and state and find out all of those things that you'll be voting for. Make sure that you're well informed when you go. It's not enough to go. Be informed. And the last thing that I'll say to you is thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being a part of change. Thank you for being what no one else thought that you could do, and exercise the God-given right that you have and go vote.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Rex and Melissa. I feel like a millennial tonight.
Yeah. You got your millennial card.
Oh yeah, and make sure you guys follow us too. The College Life.
College Life.
The College Life on Facebook. The College Life in the Gap. And then the College Life on Instagram is _the College Life _. So our bookings is Christ. He keeps us together. Okay. So again, _ College Life and then _ at the end. So follow us. Let's be friends. Let's make change together.
Yes. Yes. And listen, join me on tomorrow as I get to say, you are fired. That's what I'm looking to say. I've practiced that. I have practiced that. Listen, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm unashamedly about who I'm voting for.
Yeah.
You know, listen, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Awesome.
Bye guys.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you guys. Go vote. Go vote. Woo,
Yes.
woo.
But Rex said, I'm not shaking shoulders. Rex, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna end the Zoom. Bye.